This is the TheNFromO here. I fixed my camera. I'm gonna be reviewing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth gameplay to start off. In terms of gameplay for this game, I believe this gameplay is an improvement on the previous entry. It is an improvement on the previous entry. You have a lot of changes for this game, but you have more material, more summon, the way different ways you power the summon, but at the same time, it added elements that made the game more boring. That, in my opinion, the gameplay suffers because it feels like the first part was so great. Is the fact of, well, maybe the first part was so great was the fact of it's short and sweet. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And I think that's the problem with Rebirth. In terms of gameplay, in terms of the open world, in terms of the chapter, overstays its welcome. Like, when you had chapter 1, you jump straight to chapter 2, chapter after chapter after chapter after chapter. Short and sweet. Each chapter is short and sweet to the point. It doesn't waste time. The problem with the open world to me killed the vibe of the game. I was searching for shit. I was like, especially the generic open world effect and the fact they dumbed down what Moogle coins are, where they were a collector's item, which helped the orphanage out by selling them so they can get money for it. They dumbed it down where you can find in boxes. Like, that's annoying. Like, you can rack up hundreds of Moogle coins. That wasn't the purpose of Moogle coins. Moogle coins were a rare commodity. Like, you can probably stack them in subsequent playthroughs, but in remake, but you can't per se do that in your first playthrough. It takes time. It was dumbed down. In terms of, I don't like that. In terms of minigames, there were a lot of minigames in this game. So much so that it felt annoying. It was fun. It was fine for a casual enjoyer. It felt good. Like, the side quests were fine for the most part. There's only two important side quests in this game. They occur on Cosmo Canyon. Yeah, it seems like from a gameplay perspective, they improved upon it, but at the same time, they took a couple steps back. Not a lot of change. So if you like the first one, you're gonna like it. The second one, if you didn't like the first one, you're not gonna like the second. I'm gonna be talking now about the performance. We're gonna leave the story section for the last part, but in terms of performance, it was pretty solid. There wasn't I crashed once, and there was a memory leak or lag spike in Cosmo Canyon, where that's the place I crashed, where it started lagging out from probably a memory leak or something. Like, it started slowing down, my FPS started dropping in Cosmo Canyon, of all places, and it usually came after I did the Chocobo minigame. That was the only issue I faced. Don't crash. It was pretty solid. In terms of Square Enix, in terms of crashing, they got it solid. I mean, it's their second round in. They shouldn't be as crashing as much. The music and art in this game are pretty phenomenal. With the price point of this game, the price point sits at a good solid range. I mean, it's $60. Do I feel like $60? $70. Excuse me, $69.99. Do I feel like $70 is a good price range for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? We close our eyes and feel that way. Do we feel that $70 is a good price point for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? It feels like a $50 to $70 game, $60 to $70 game. It feels that way. I mean, you can't complain. You know what you expect in the remake. It's a sequel to that. It's an episodic game. It's not a sequel. It's an episodic game. There's a difference between a sequel to an episodic game. Okay, let's talk about the story. For the most part in this game, the story follows. The story is good. It follows the beats. The open world ruined the flow of the story, but it's good. Talk about this the 3 side quests. First of all, there are 3 side quests that are the most important. It's the Sisney side quest, the Gongaga, one of the Sisney side quests in Gongaga, where she's able to answer one of your questions. There's only one question that she asks, that you asked of her to her. There's the G side quest with Nanaki, and the Bugenhagen and the Black Whisper are stealing the live stream energy from the springs, from the Freeform Materia springs. Those are the only important side quests in the game. There's some couple of cute emotional ones between Tifa, Cloud, Barret, and all of those, but they don't matter at the end in this game. There's only those 3 that matters for the whole storyline. Like, the 3 that gives you the most reasons that matter the most. We had the whole Zack thing. We had that whole Zack timeline thing. It's not timelines. I don't believe it's time. I believe there's multiple worlds. but not timeline. There's only one timeline, but there's multiple worlds that can occur in that singular timeline. Nowhere in the game does it say it's multiple times. There's only one timeline, but there's multiple worlds in that singular timeline that can change the course of events for that timeline. You know what I mean? The Zack worlds show different choices causes different breaches in that singular timeline. Where he went into Cloud, when he went to save Cloud, when he went to save Biggs, or where he couldn't decide which one to save. And we had the whole Marlene thing. In terms of story, like, I think personally, in terms of story, the game, because it's the second part, it's hard to dictate, but from what I feel, they need to exactly prove the whole theme of this whole trilogy. From what we understand is a defying of fate, right? The defying of fate, because you set it up, and I think you kept re-emphasizing the defying of fate, the defying of fate. It's like you have to deliver it now. You have to deliver that now. And this is my take at the end of the day. If it ends the same, what was the point? Tell us the faithful retelling, but we're splitting into 3 parts. People have been fine with it. I'm 100% people will still have bought. 100%, right? We've seen that with Final Fantasy VII Remake. People still bought it. Hardcore and new car, they will probably want to experience the same way. But you can't sit here and tell me, by the inclusion of those parts and the results in the same ending, people would have been like, what was the point? This is the problem. And this is my take. It's subjective. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? It's a subjective game right now. It's subjective. All reviews are now. You have to take them. Take them all with a grain of salt on the story portion, because everything is subjective. Like, most reviews are subjective, but this is busting the wall of subjectivity. As far as if it results in the same ending, there will be no point for this. And that's the damn truth. If it results in the same ending, there will be no points to introduce the same concepts, introduce the same theories, the same multiverse, to bring back Zack. There would be no point of this. Because at the end of the day, what was the point? What was the point of introducing these concepts for no reward, for no justification? Because right now it doesn't have a justification. Right now, if it ends the same way, there's no justification. This is my personal take on it. Because right now I'm entering part 3 with very much skepticism from a story point perspective. Because at the end of the day, they can destroy everything they built up for by saying, we tricked you, and it's going to take more effort on their part to show what that it needed to end that way. It's going to take so much from it time for it. You can't say destiny, you can't say fate, you can't say it needed to happen. You just can't say that anymore because the breaking of fate. And that's where I sit on it. It's like, I gave Remake around an 8 to an 8.5 range. I never released because I didn't start serious content creation during that period of time. If it didn't have this subjectivity, and if it was either saving Aerith or Aerith dies, even then it would have been bad. Because they set themselves up for failure from the get-go, and I think that's the problem. If Aerith dies, there will be... And I think this is the problem. The problem is they set themselves up in Remake with a defied destiny. And any other way besides Aerith surviving is going to shoot themselves in the foot. Any other way besides Aerith surviving is going to shoot themselves in the foot. And I think that's the biggest issue. I think this is the biggest issue. They set themselves up in Remake with Defiant Destiny, with Aerith's whole line at the end of it. And if it ends the same way, a lot of people are not going to like what I say about this. Currently stands the game, it's at a 7.5 to an 8.